Back again with our live How to Make Your Boring Business Brilliant on social media. I am super excited about my guest today.
We would be familiar with that or brands that have done a really great job of building community.
The number one community that I can think of with the top of my head is the Swifty community. They are so active on social media, specifically now TikTok. But I think that if we grew up with Taylor Swift, right, one of the most amazing things about her community is they're the fans. They are the people that are buying her CDs, creating content online, going to her concerts, you name it. The Swifties are super powerful. And I think that if you're looking at examples of what a community looks like online, they are the go-to community that I would have to say you can learn from, you can gain so much knowledge from, and they're pretty interesting to follow.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And actually went to I don't want to say a talk, but a thing that Christina did. I don't know what it's called, but where she was talking about the Swiftie community, and it was really one of my favorite deep dives into it. So we'll get a little bit deeper into that. But okay, so as a small business owner, because people who are watching us, most of them are probably small business owners, maybe not a business owner yet. Drop in the comments if you do own a business. We would love to know and what kind of business it is, and maybe we can even help you figure out how you can tap into that community. But should small business owners be focused on community and like is it beneficial?
Absolutely, 100% it is beneficial. A community can be representative of the people who follow you, or not only the people that follow you, but other people that are parts of communities. And when you are really looking to expand your business or you're expanding your brand, the main community that you are going to want to tap into are the people that are already following you right now. And so it is so important to focus on that community because of the fact that those are going to be the people that are going to refer you, the ones that are going to support you, share you, and it's all about too building that brand loyalty, right? So when I think about I'm just going to use an example. I switched banks recently. So I went to a different business bank and immediately I felt a part of their community. They sent me a nice little gift. They sent me a really nice letter in the email, in my email, and in my mailbox. And that is deepening the relationship that they are having with me now that I'm a customer. And so that's why I think that as business owners, if you're a small business owner, your community, not just in the online, the touch points online are important, but it's also what you do offline that's super important too, to be able to focus on building that brand loyalty.
Yeah, okay. So and just I just noticed you're kind of like you talked about a little two different things, right? So like one of the things as a business
Right.
owner that we can do is tap into a community that might already exist that our ideal clients might be a part of and start to like meet people in that community, right? Or meet people in a community that might align with what we do. So like I'm a part of a lot of online marketing communities and also a part of communities that my ideal client might be in. And then also building a community where you're making your ideal client feel special for being a part of you. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. And those are really the touch points too that I think that when we start thinking about how to tap into different communities, either in both spheres, online or offline, the main goal is to have that really great touch point. So that remember, it's easier to convert somebody who's already worked with you before, right? It's easy to have repeating customers. It takes a lot more to be able to gain new customer after new customer. And so when we think about community building specifically with the people that are in your sphere, it's thinking about how can you create a long-term relationship than just just the immediate one that you have currently. And so it's thinking about like all the different touch points that come from building both types of communities.
Yeah. Okay, so that kind of leads us into like what are the ingredients for a great community?
Number one, listening to your audience. Your audience is going to be the first people who are going to react or who's going to tell you what they like and what they don't like, even the problems that they're facing, right? I think when we think about creating content, I always try to look to see what my audience is saying online and what are some of the things that they are interacting with right now that I can duplicate, replicate, and really kind of like tap into their world. So, listening to your audience is going to be super, super key because that's really what is going to be the best way to understand your audience. What type of videos are they watching specifically? What is keeping them up at night? And how your business can really sort of alleviate that pain. But I think listening to your audience is like really key, and then also having a dialogue with them. One of the main reasons why social media is social media is because it's meant for us to be social, right?
Mhm.
So it's really engaging with your audience and having that one-to-one, that dialogue with them. I think going back to the Swifty conversation, right? One of the things that Taylor Swift does best is she has dialogue with them. She's always
Mhm.
lurking, she's always watching, she's listening, but then she has that one-to-one dialogue whenever she's in her concerts and whenever she is, on the internet herself as well, when she's tweeting or when she's on. So I think it's also a combination of listening and reacting and engaging that is going to make the best types of brand communities for your business.
I love that. And I love that you went back to the Taylor Swift thing because I think that that is such a great, um, I mean, because we can think about like Lululemon or any of these product-based businesses that obviously have kind of like what we would call cult followings. And that really is the community that Christina is talking about. But as a service owner, service provider, business owner, it's a little bit harder to think of like how can I create community when like what is it that people are going to share about me or how are people going to talk about me? And looking at Taylor Swift, who doesn't really, I mean, I guess she does provide a product, but she also provides a service, is a really good example of um, creating a community where people are talking and people are um, interacting with each other, and she's interacting back. So I love that. Okay, so if I was a service-based business, who should be a part of my community? Who are these people?
I think about Metrocool and I think about Sprout Social and Later. All of these service providers that provide a specific service specifically for social media people, and I'm just going to use them as an example, immediately it is going to be their direct customers, right? And so you will find that the direct customers are going to be the main people of the community, but then there might be other audience sets that can be sort of in alignment. So maybe it is a specific strategic partner, right? So if you have, for example, a social media software tool, it could easily be something that aligns really well with that tool. And so kind of thinking at it from a different standpoint where it's going to be the direct customers, but then also your strategic partners that maybe have their own sets of community that you could get your product or service in front of. So I think those are the two different audience sets that you have to think about. And then also too, it could be people who interact, right, that are not your customers but could become a customer one day. So I think those are the different pieces. And it really kind of it depends. I think building community on TikTok and building community on Twitter. Still a huge Twitter fan, but those are the main sort of platforms that you'll be able to kind of realize who your community is.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you so much for the hearts. If you're enjoying this slide, please be sure to double tap the screen so that it gets in front of more people. And also, please drop any questions that you have about community or social media in the comments, and we are happy to answer them for you. Okay, so I think that you brought up a really good point when you're thinking about who your community is. and thinking about strategic partnerships, brands that might align with yours, and you guys might share customers, but maybe they don't know who you are yet or know who you exist. So even Christina has done that locally, right? By partnering with Geekdom, with Hustle and Socialize. So you have a co-working community, which is a lot of women entrepreneurs that is now partnering with Hustle and Socialize, which is also for women entrepreneurs. So thinking about how uh, your community can grow by crossing over with other brands that might align with yours. So I think I love that so much. And I think that as especially new entrepreneurs, but really um, big brands do this, and maybe you see it, maybe you don't, but like finding people to partner with who you could share an audience with is such a great way to get in front of new people. I notice it in my email a lot. If you follow a lot of like the self-help gurus and stuff, they all promote each other and they borrow each other's email list to share whatever it is that they're launching. So you've probably seen that before, and that's a great way of building
Yeah.
community. Okay, so that leads us into our next question. What are some easy ways to start building your community?
If you are online specifically, I would say one of the easiest ways to touch on the point that you had is to collaborate with other people. So just like we're doing right now, we are going live together. That's a great way to build community, to get in front of new audiences, collaborating on TikToks and Reels. I'm gonna do a little shout out for, of course, Instagram, but even doing a story takeover, right? Being able to get in front of audiences that you may not have gone before. So in the online world specifically, that's the easiest way. Like if you find somebody who you really want to go live with, or you find somebody that you really want to collaborate with, definitely reach out to them. Just ask them that you admired them for so long and you want to be able to kind of create some type of collaboration. And the same thing goes for the online world, or for the offline world, I'm sorry. Being able to collaborate with each other on events, whether it is in-person events or virtual events, right? Stepping into that sphere where you are getting in front of a different audience offline, and then pulling back people to follow you on social media is going to be the easiest way. So collaboration is key. I always say that it's always community over competition, right? Being able to
Mhm.
collaborate in both spheres, online and offline, is going to be able to grow your audience at a much faster rate than you doing it by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And you just made me think of something, talking about growing your community. So one of my favorite things to do is I don't carry business cards, and mostly because I'm lazy and haven't gotten them printed in a while, but also because I really just like connecting with people on social media, because I feel like it gives me a better chance to get to know them. And so whenever I meet people, I ask them like, "Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Instagram? Let's connect there." And then we can stay connected. And I also have some sort of freebie that I can offer them that will put them on my email list. I do always let them know that like you're going to be on my email list. But that's your email list is a huge community of people who is usually your absolute warmest audience. My mentor, Rachel Peterson, always talks about how important it is to grow your email list because those are the people who are probably going to buy from you. And that goes for any
Yeah.
service-based business, any product-based business, no matter how big you are. I mean, Christina, you probably sell most of your tickets from people who are on the email list for Hustle and Socialize. Like those are the people who are watching what you're doing. They're following you on every social network and they're reading your emails. That's your hottest audience. And that is the best community that you could be building for yourself. That's really a great asset for you and your company in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel too that sometimes we take the email list for granted because at the end of the day, while yes, like social media is our bread and butter, we don't own social media. So any of this
Mhm.
can go away, but your email list is something that you own, that you have people's emails. And I love being able to see who clicked and how can I retarget them and how can I, even if I see somebody clicked and they didn't purchase, then I start thinking about how can I take that and make it personalized, and send them a video in a DM and invite them to come to Hustle and Socialize. So it's being very strategic with all of the different marketing pieces that you have.
I love that. And so that kind of gets me into my next question is like, what are the best ways to nurture a community?
Definitely, you want to make people feel loved, supported, adored, significant, right? So when you have an audience, when you have people that are within your circle, it is important to send a thank you, or you don't have to buy these glamorous gifts, right? Even a simple handwritten note card. I love being able during someone's birthday or someone's anniversary, someone's, for Christmas, being able to send handwritten cards to my clients and people who have invested in me, right? So being able to acknowledge that they are loved and supported. They're part of the community. I always love anytime I invest in a small business owner and then they send like a thank you card, right? And so different things, like different touch points in that nature, or even if it's not even offline but online, like sending a video to somebody like, hey, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, or different things like that. I had somebody who I collaborated with on a campaign, and she sent me a cute little video in the DMs, and then she sent me a card. And so it's different little touch points like that that really make a difference in the world and make your audience know that they are appreciative of you, and being a part of that community is something that's super special.
Yeah, I think some other ways that I've seen even you specifically do is sharing on Instagram when you see people who have attended your conference in the past and you share the things that they're sharing. So if it's like launches or wins, that really makes your community feel special. And it's something that doesn't take any money, but it has the benefit of uplifting them. It gives you content, and it also shows that you're paying attention and that you're valuing the people in your community. They're not just a number; they're actually people who are interacting with you. And I think there's some big brands that do this and some that don't, but like it feels so good to have your stuff reshared, when you like tag a brand in your stories and they reshare it, it's like, oh my gosh, so and so reshared it, or like liked it or commented on it. So even I'm like zooming out and zooming back in, like acknowledging people who are acknowledging you is such a powerful thing to
Yeah.
do.
It truly is. Even for my birthday this past weekend, I love cat cafes, right? Like I will go to a cat cafe. If a city has a cat cafe, I'm making that reservation. And I went to a cat cafe this weekend, and I felt so excited because I tagged them, and of course, they reshared my post, and it just made me so excited because I felt like, oh my god, they saw that I was there. They saw that I was like interacting with the cats, and it just made me feel excited to see that they shared my post, or even me tagging a restaurant that I went to, and they
Mhm.
shared it too, or even somebody just sharing anything related to Hustle and Socialize or related to my private coaching or any sale that I have. I think it just makes me feel really supported when I see colleagues or people within my community. Maybe they've never even bought from me, but they want, like this guy today, actually, he's never bought from me, but he has a lot of women in his community who could benefit from Hustle and Socialize, and he shared our post for tickets. And so it just made me feel happy, right, to see that even though he's lurking, he may not buy from me directly, but he's sharing within his network that could benefit, and that just makes me feel really good.
Yeah. So when you're looking at how to make your community feel special, make sure that you're acknowledging them where they are acknowledging you, and make sure that you're acknowledging them when they acknowledge you, and you're acknowledging them in general. So, like you. we started talking about how Hustle and Socialize shares other people's content, but also when people are leaving you reviews on your pages and when people are leaving comments on your pages, just making sure that you're following up with that. Again, to go back to my mentor, Rachel Peterson, one of the things that she teaches is how important those first followers are when you're trying to build your community online, and to not ignore them or ever feel like you don't have enough people commenting or you don't have enough people looking at your content, because there are people looking, there are people commenting, and there are people who you could really make feel special right now to be a raving fan that will in turn help you grow your business in the long run.
No,
Okay.
absolutely, for 100%.
So, lastly, what do I do if I'm feeling disconnected from my community? Like, how do I reconnect, or what should I do then?
Yeah, I love this question because I think we've all felt this in some way, shape, or form, whether it is we've maybe outgrown a community that we were a part of, or maybe through time we just noticed that there's a difference. So, everybody is going to be in different seasons in their life and their business. And so, I always think that, like, even if you feel very disconnected, think about ways that you could still refer other people to. So maybe you yourself are not just a part of it, but you know somebody within your network could benefit from that community. And then also think about, what communities that you need to be a part of that are going to fulfill this season in your life. So
Mhm.
maybe you're not going to be super active in an online community that you were normally a part of, whether it's a Facebook group or something, and you need to take a break from it. That's completely fine, right? Same thing with an offline community. It's knowing and understanding what season you're in your life and being okay with, hey, maybe I got what I needed to get out of this community. I've been a part of it for a long time. Maybe I don't need to get something out of it. Maybe I need to bring more people in, or maybe I just need to share something. But I think it's important to realize what communities are going to align best with you in that specific season that you're in.
Yeah. And I think that if it's your community, to not be afraid to grow, which I think is kind of similar to what Christina was just saying, and being authentically you and understanding that sometimes that means that your community evolves with you and it changes what it used to look like into something that you both fit together a little bit better. So, just recognizing that all of life is this evolution and you're never going to be the same person. And so eventually there's people who may have followed you in the past who may not resonate with you now. I'm sure that you've experienced this with Hustle and Socialize, especially with COVID being in the middle of it, that there were people
Yeah.
who were once a part of the community who maybe don't feel like they fit there anymore. But you have all of these new people. And so for you to be stuck on people who aren't a right fit anymore, rather than recognizing this new group of people, would be such a disservice to your community. So remembering that lost
Yeah.
followers, lost people doesn't mean like loss of your community. It just means that you're growing into something new.
Yeah, I think too, one thing I noticed, because the day after my birthday was actually the 5th year anniversary of when I announced Hustle and Socialize. So 5 years have passed, right? And I think one thing that I noticed too was the evolution that has happened with the first iteration of the conference to now, and also like so much change has happened, right? COVID, I bought out my business partner, I increased the prices. Like there are so many different factors that have changed in from what it used to be. And I think what I've learned so much with growing the business is having an acceptance that change has happened and really surrendering to like this community that is now being a part of the new wave of Hustle and Socialize, and like how do I really nurture them currently, and while yes still keeping people that have been a part of it in my mind, but really thinking about like how can I best serve in this moment, and what do they need from me, and what do I need from myself to be able to serve in this new endeavor, in this new way that I maybe didn't have that in 2018.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so before we go, and if you are loving this, please double tap the screen. We appreciate the hearts that you give, and make sure that you are following Christina, the Social Butterfly Gal, for social media and community tips. So, Christina, why don't you tell us the best piece of content that you're consuming right now? It could be a book, a podcast, or a show or movie that you're just loving and it's inspiring you.
I love, love, love the Marie Folio podcast and the Jasmine Star podcast. Earlier today, Marie Folio had Matthew McConaughey on her podcast, and I need to tell you that that episode this morning lit my fire. It gave me so much inspiration. But I'm really trying my best to get into reading more books. Reading for me has been very difficult, just with like some past traumas that I had from elementary school. But I feel like I'm reading business books that are really helping me in this new wave. But yeah, Marie Folio podcast, Jasmine Star podcast. Those are my two favorite podcasts, business podcasts to listen to.
So let me give you two things that I've been told. I didn't make them up. One of them is that listening to books is just as good as reading them. So there's no gatekeeping when it comes to books. Whatever's the best way for you to consume them, it's fine. And the second thing is
Yes.
that if a book is not inspiring you, you're not getting into it, you have permission to put it down. Do not force yourself through a book. You got whatever it is that you needed out of it, and you can move on. And maybe another time it'll cross your path, and maybe not. I am notorious for reading like 5 books at a time, and some of them I get through and some of them I never do, but I'm just like, whatever. Like right now, I just started a fiction book. I am reading a Law of Attraction book. I'm reading Traction. I'm reading a book about
Oh,
clutter.
nice.
But so like whatever you
Oh,
want. What? Anyways.
oh my God. I need, like, you're giving me inspiration because, like, I did transition. I tried something different. Instead of actually having a book in my hand, I decided to treat it like a podcast. And I
Yeah.
got through that fairly quickly than
Yeah.
I did with, like, actually reading.
Yeah.
So
And
then I keep doing that.
that's totally fine. All right, our time is up here. Why don't you tell people where they can find you online?
Yes, my TikTok handle is the Social Butterfly Gal, so you can follow me here on TikTok, and you can follow me also on Instagram at the Social Butterfly Gal. I'm also on Twitter, Christina SBG. But yeah, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Instagram are going to be the three main platforms that you'll find me on.
Perfect. And be sure to join us every single Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central. I do put the replays on YouTube so you can catch every single episode that we've ever done over on my YouTube channel at Key Heart Marketing. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.